The Panthers slipped to their fifth successive defeat in this season's NatWest T20 Blast, losing by 6 wickets with 8 balls remaining to local rival Surrey on another sluggish pitch at the Kia Oval. Gary Wilson won the toss on a cool evening in South London, and importantly he put the Panthers into bat, and Paul Stirling's indifferent run in this season's competition continued as he nipped the first ball he faced behind to give Jay Dernbach a very early success with an outswinger. Dernbach found plenty of movement right from the start, which meant that Adam Rossington, in at number 3, had to go after Azhar Mahmood at the other end. In trying to do that, he could only find a sprawling Kevin O'Brien at point, which left Middlesex on 11 for 2 after 3 overs. It was a real struggle. That was until Joe Denley took a risk and took on Azhar by driving him over long off for the first 6 of the match, which carried the total to 27 for 2 at the end of the 5th over. But Denley was then out to the last delivery of the power play as he tried to run this ball from Tom Curran down to third man, only to get an edge through to Wilson. Alas, it was another power play which hadn't gone as planned, with the Panthers making 33 for 3 from it. Much then relied again on David Milan, the most consistent of the batsmen in this competition thus far. Neil Dexter at the other end needed 13 balls to get off the mark, doing that with a risky but very good shot off O'Brien. At the halfway stage of the innings, the Panthers had to settle for a score of 51 for 3, and then Dexter raced down the pitch to try to hit Gareth Batty's second ball out of the ground, only to be beaten by a clever bit of bowling. As with the pitch in Bristol last week, this one at the Oval was not a good one to play shots on, and Middlesex just couldn't get any momentum behind their innings, and when the excellent Curran nipped one back off the surface sharply to trap Dan Christian in front for a couple, the Panthers were left on 57 for 5 after a dozen overs. Curran's 4 cost just 15 runs and included 17 dot balls, which summed up perfectly the Panthers' problems, and those problems continued when John Simpson was very well held off his own bowling by O'Brien, the dismissal again showing just how difficult it was to time the ball. So much so, in fact, that the score read just 66 for 6 with 5 overs of the innings remaining. Shots had to be played now, and Toby Rowland-Jones hoiked O'Brien out to cow corner for what was a very rare boundary. Indeed, it was their first since the end of the 10th over. Rowland-Jones followed that up by using his feet really well to send this ball from Batty over the rope for a 6, a much needed one for the Panthers, and it was a shot equalled by Milan, who was still in just a couple of balls later. It was an over that Middlesex required, with 17 runs coming off it, which would at least give them something to bowl at on a pitch they would hope would help their own attack. From nowhere, the runs were suddenly coming thick and fast. Rowland-Jones pulled Dernbach for another maximum, a shot which was immediately followed up with another 4. Suddenly the 100 was up with 2 overs to go. But Rowland-Jones fell, going for another big hit in the last over. Robin Peterson taking a good running catch at long off the bowling of Dernbach. Rowland-Jones made 30 off 21 balls to give his side an outside chance, while Milan, to his credit, batted through the entire innings, ending unbeaten on 48, which was made off 51 balls. Middlesex then finished on a below par score, though, of 117 for 7. So Surrey had to chase down at 5.9 runs per over, although that rate was soon on the up after Stephen Finn's first over cost just a single. Alas, Rowland-Jones followed that up with an over that went for 8. Jason Roy decided that he was going to try to get this game finished as soon as possible. Although he also didn't time the ball especially well initially, he still played some shots of quality. With no wicket down after 5 overs, Ravi Patel was brought on, only for Hashim Amla to drive him expertly over extra cover for his first boundary. Surrey had started well enough to get to 39 without loss at the end of their 6 overs of power play. There was some hope for the Panthers when Roy helped the slower ball from James Harris on its way down to Patel at fine leg. It ended an opening partnership of 47 made in the first 7 overs of the reply. Roy was out for 26. Stirling then came on in the 10th over, and with his 4th delivery he bowled Stephen Davis with a ball he fired in at the stumps. Davis was gone for 10, and that left the home side on 61 for 2 at the halfway stage. 57 now needed off the last 10 overs. A couple more wickets now and the Panthers would have been in with a shout. Not for the first time in this campaign. The bowlers were responding well, but Amla was playing the anchor role well too, finding the boundary just when one was needed. Midway through the 13th over, the South African cleared the rope for the first time in the innings as Surrey started to accelerate. Both Sterling and Patel had expensive overs, especially given the general run rate in this match. Now only 33 runs were wanted off the last 7. That was down to 30 off 38 balls when Amla, on a run of ball 39, went after a short and slower delivery from Christian to hole out to Milan, well in from the long off boundary. Unfortunately for the Panthers, each of the Surrey top 4 had made a score, and that was the main difference. That included Wilson, who now took his side to within 10 runs of their victory target. He was out for 25 in the 16th over, a very unusual dismissal this, as Rossington managed to catch the ball off the edge off Christian between his legs. He did very well to stay calm to complete the dismissal. It was, though, one of the few bright moments of what was another disappointing night for Middlesex in this form of the game. With 9 balls of the match remaining, Azhar Mahmood drove Roland Jones over his head for the final boundary of the match. Surrey had won with relative ease in the end by 6 wickets with more than an over unused. Again, the Panthers showed moments in this match where they promised something, and that has been the case in all of their T20 games to date. They next travel to Canterbury to take on Kent, who, at this stage, have a 100% win record in this competition, although they have played only twice. That game is next Friday.